In this video, I want to show you how to price your social media marketing services. So I want to start just by talking about the value equation in the book $100 Million Offers from Alex Hormozi. And I think that if we understand how value is created, then we are going to understand how much money we can actually charge for our services. Because at the end of the day, remember that if we promise an amazing result, if it is perceived that we're going to help the client, if we have a high perceived likelihood of achievement, if the client believes, or if we can demonstrate that they're going to get results really fast or in a reasonable amount of time, and if they believe, or if we can see, or if we promise that they are not going to have to put a lot of effort into this, that maybe they are not going to have to sacrifice a lot of things, then of course our prices are going to be higher. That's why someone that has a ton of testimonials, in this case perceived likelihood of achievement, can charge more money. If you can if you can help your clients to make $10 million instead of just $10,000, of course you can charge more money. And then if you help them to get to this point in, let's say, a couple of weeks instead of 1 year or instead of 10 years, again, your prices are going to increase. And of course, if the client knows that they don't have to spend a lot of time or money or effort into this, you're going to be able to charge more money. But I want to be really specific. When it comes to the dream outcome, of course, how much money the client will make, how much money the client can save, depending on the service and the offer that you have right now. The next part, how likely it is that the client is going to get results. Because if you have a lot of experience and if you can show people that you actually did this for a long time, of course you can charge more money. In my case, I started selling my appointment setting service because I was an appointment setter. So of course this helped me a little bit in order to charge more money from the get-go. And then of course also other things that you have to consider are how long the project will take, how many hours you will spend on it, what are your costs, again their effort, their sacrifice, but that's pretty much the same thing that I just said before. So now, the fastest way to set your initial price point is going to be just by checking what your competitors are doing. Because if you see their price points, if you see their background, and if you see the whole picture in their business, you're gonna be able to understand how much money you can charge. So if you can see that they are charging, let's say $5,000, but they are promising their clients to make 100K, that they already have like 10, 20, 50 testimonials, and that they are promising to get these results in just 30 days. And then after that, if they also promise that they are not going to have to put a lot of effort into this, maybe they are going to place an appointment setting team for them, or maybe they are going to do all the ads, it depends on what you're offering. But if they promise everything, now based on that, you are going to know what kind of price point you can charge. So if they are selling this for $5,000, and if you don't have all of this experience, and if you are promising these results in 3 months instead of 1 month, and if you are promising less results, then maybe it's okay if you start just by charging $1,000 until you are able to get the same advantages as the competitor. So what I mean is that until you are able to collect all of these testimonials, until you are able to show your clients that you can give them these results fast, or until you can promise more results, that's when you can charge more money. And here, if you're starting out, if the competitor is offering these things, you will have to try to do the same thing as them. You will have to try to emulate the same promises, emulate the same testimonials. You will have to try to emulate everything just so that you can compete. In some cases, if you ask for the price in the messages, just in Facebook, Instagram, maybe not a lot of people are going to reply. In some cases they will. If necessary, maybe you can hop on a sales call with them and you can be honest and you can say, for example, hey, I am planning to offer a similar service and I want to maybe partner up with you. Can you tell me more about the price point that you have? Or maybe in some cases you can be honest and it's not necessary to lie, but it's really, really helpful if you hop on a sales call with your competitors just so that you can understand the whole picture. What are they offering? What kind of price points they have for their clients, and what are the promises they are making? Because once you have all of this information, choosing the right price point for your offer is going to be very, very simple. So sell the farm and lower your prices. Don't be afraid to lower your prices, because especially if you're starting out, this is normal. So you don't have to worry about charging the most amount of money right away. Even if you know that maybe someone is telling you that you have to charge $5,000 right away, yes, that's the best way to continue growing your business, but it's okay if you start just by charging $1,500, and I want to show you some examples in a minute, but it's okay if you start by having those prices, because once you set this kind of price points, now you can actually continue increasing them depending on the demand that you're having. And let me give you this example, because this is how the market dictates your price. And I learned this when I was actually a real estate agent. And basically here I realized that if we had a house and if we wanted to sell that house really fast, we just needed to lower the price. It was that simple. The house was the same, nothing changed. The only thing that changed was the price. So if you lower your prices, you're just gonna have more chances of closing more deals. It is just the truth. It is pretty simple, but not a lot of people see that. So ideally, you're gonna lower your prices, and once you have more clients, once you have more testimonials, now that's when you can continue increasing your price, and you can continue getting more clients at a higher price point. And I will create, and I have another video actually where I talk about why you don't have to offer a free trial, because it's okay if you charge a low price, but it's not necessary to offer a free trial. But in this example, let's say that you have a painting business. I just want to show you how simple this is, how obvious this concept is, just so that you understand why you need to lower your prices. So if we have a painting business, let's say that we have the chance to run an ad that says, I will paint your house for, then if you say for $1,000, then probably you're gonna get 100 appointments in the next week, right? But then if you run the same ad and if you offer the same service, but if you say, I will paint your house for $10,000, then probably you're just going to get 10 appointments. And that's why if you have all of these appointments, let's say 100, it is very likely that you're gonna end up converting 5, 6, 10 of them, or maybe more. And then if you only have these opportunities, 10, of course, it's gonna be way harder to actually close the client. And if you don't have the testimonials, if you don't have the background, the track record of success, it's gonna be hard to basically use this kind of price point. Once you have this low price, for example, 1,000, you can adapt your price really fast. Let's say that after you get your first 5 to 10 sales calls, you will have to ask yourself, of course, did you close a client? This is the basic question. Did you close a client? If the answer is yes, then you can increase your prices right away. If the answer is no, then that means that maybe you have to lower your prices a little bit more, or that you need to wait until you get an extra 5 to 10 calls before you can increase the price. But if you have this price point, let's say that you get your client right away, now you have a client, now you're making money, and now you have the experience. So now you can continue increasing the price. And again, you're gonna ask yourself, did you close new clients? And if the answer is yes, you can continue increasing your prices. And if the answer is no, then you can lower your prices. And you can adapt the price depending on the feedback that you're getting from the market. And it's okay, again, if you start with a lower price, because even in a sales call, you will see how prospects are reacting to your offer. If they are saying yes right away, then probably that means that they are interested. And let me give you a real example with my agency. I started by doing a little bit of research in my market. So I saw that my competitors were charging $2,000 a month for the exact same service. In some cases they were charging more, in some cases they were charging less, but the offer was a little bit different. However, I also saw that other competitors were charging $9,000, $15,000, even $20,000 for the same service, but then on top of that, they added consulting services. However, I saw that they were charging these kind of prices because they had a ton of testimonials. They were already connected to the biggest guys in the industry, like Grant Cardone and Ty Lopez and Hormozi and all of these guys. So I ended up choosing this price point, $1,000. I started charging $1,000 in order to hire, train, and manage appointment setters for my clients, one appointment setter. And the interesting thing that happened is right here. So the first prospect, the first sales call that I had for this business ended up becoming a client. Technically, because the prospect said yes, but then she didn't end up paying me. However, the second prospect, the second sales call, again, the same thing happened. The prospect said yes, and he actually paid me. So that's how I was able to get my first client. Then the third prospect, again, said yes. And actually, maybe this was like the fourth prospect that said yes, but it was like in a span of 1 week, I was able to make $5,000. And probably you have seen my video where I talk about how I went from $0 to $5,000 in 10 days. Because all of these prospects were saying yes and yes and yes and yes. And when these prospects said yes, of course, I knew that I needed to increase the price, because I couldn't keep up just getting clients for $1,000 here and there and there and there and there and there. I needed to do something different. So I increased the price to $3,000, and then I didn't close the next few calls because I increased the price, but the 10th prospect, the 10th or the 11th prospect said yes to the price point, to this price point, and he actually paid in full. So I knew that this was the new price point. I knew that this was like the new range that I needed to use for my business, and that's how everything started. And then after that, let me give you the opposite, because not everything is just sunshine and rainbows. So I increased the price to $5,000, but in this case, I was actually not able to close deals. And for a couple of weeks, I was not able to close deals because I was trying to force this price point. But then I realized that I didn't have enough testimonials. I realized that my brand was not big enough. I realized that I didn't have a lot of things that the other guys had. That a lot of the guys that had, basically a lot of the guys had a lot of things that I didn't have, but because of that, they were able to charge $10,000, $15,000 and more. So remember that you need to focus on the value equation. In my case, I decided to focus more on that, and I went back to the trenches, so to speak, and I started focusing on the small things, on the small details. So most people will say that you have to think about how much money you will spend in order to choose the best price point, that you have to think about your profit margins, that you have to think about your hourly rate, about your niche. But if you can see, they are talking about you, and you. They are not talking about the client. However, when we sell something, the first thing is going to be the client. So you have to think about what they are going to say, what they are going to think, what they perceive about your service. And once that's very clear, you're going to be honest with yourself, and you're going to say, okay, so I am starting out, that's okay. So I am going to charge a low price, that's okay. And then later I am going to start increasing those prices. But I want to show you what are the things that you should do next. Because in my experience, what happened is that I got this client, I believe, because I was able to add more personalization, and I also created a lot of content, and this helped me a lot to differentiate myself. So in summary, you have to check what your competitors are doing, and then just start with a price point that makes sense that makes sense pretty much. So maybe it will be $1,000 a month, maybe it will be $2,000 a month. In some cases, maybe you can even charge $500 a month, something like that. And that's okay, because it's okay if you get those price points. Everyone has to go through that phase, so that's okay. And then later you can continue increasing the price. Of course, you just have to start selling. And of course, you have to focus on the lead generation and the appointment setting, because without this aspect, you are not going to be able to grow your business. If you are able to book 100 appointments, the price point is not going to be the biggest deal, the biggest problem, because you're going to have a ton of opportunities to get clients. So that's why focus more on the lead generation, the appointment setting. Don't focus too much on the price point. Just choose one price point and then just go with it, and then see how people are reacting in your sales call. Now, another thing that you can do is to try to offer more things than your competitors. So this means that maybe you can add like an extra service, or maybe you can offer something that is really valuable that not a lot of people are considering. Remember that you will adapt your prices based on actions and results. So it's not necessary to adapt these prices just because on information that you're gonna see online. You have to adapt these prices in the real world, and not just in a laptop, in a computer. Just trying to find the perfect price point is not the solution. You just have to choose a price point, you have to start selling, and then later you can change the price. That's not a big deal. And in your sales calls, let's say that for some reason you increase the price too much. Maybe in the sales call, in order to handle the objections, you can lower the price. And that's okay, because again, the idea is to close the client. But the goal is to control the value equation, just so that you can charge an unlimited amount of money, and so you can have massive profit margins. So the idea is to start with these price points, but the idea is to increase these price points so you can continue scaling your business. The idea is to have a bigger profit margin so you can afford to hire a more talented team, and you can afford to invest in paid traffic, and you can afford to invest in a bunch of things. In order to continue growing, you have to improve the outcome that you are offering. So you have to show your prospects why you can help them to achieve something bigger. You have to show them that you have done this before for a lot of people in the past. So that's why you need to collect all of these testimonials, and then you have to show them that you're gonna help them to get there fast, of course in a reasonable amount of time, and that they don't have to put a lot of effort into this. So those are the most important things. I will leave a video right here where I talk about my story and how I went from $0 to $5,000 in 10 days, so you can understand why I chose this price point, and you can understand how you can do the same thing for your agency, for your business as well. So the link will be right here, and that's it. Thank you for watching.